All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Gabby Taylor.
My name is Sharon Norton.
And for our trauma explanation, we are talking about domestic violence. Domestic violence is also referred to as intimate partner violence, and it is a pattern of behaviors used by one partner to maintain power and control over another partner in an intimate relationship. For my scenario, I'm going to be using a African American young man. He is 18 years old. He has just recently graduated from high school and has started college at an out-of-state school. His father passed away during his last year of high school. Before his father passed away, he had confided in both of his parents that he was homosexual. Once his father passed away, mom continued to try to be supportive of him because he did not want to let anybody else know quite yet. And in the process of him still grieving the loss of his father, his mom has met someone else and has remarried, and his new stepfather is not at all supportive of his sexuality and has become very abusive to the both of them. In the process of him moving away, because mom is now in an abusive relationship with her new husband, he has pretty much isolated mom from him, so he does not have any support currently right now. It's been very scary for him at the new school, and he has made one friend that he is now dating and is now struggling, experiencing domestic violence in this relationship as well, and isn't really quite sure what to do. Um, and on one side he feels, well, this is the only person that I have here. On the other side, I really don't want to be treated like this, but I don't want to be alone either. So he is now confided in me, the counselor at the college, and we're pretty much going to be talking about the impact of domestic violence. And the client's name is Jamal. So hello, Jamal. The last time we spoke, I know that a lot of what was going on, you're still struggling with that detachment from family, not really knowing anybody here, um, kind of starting to isolate because you don't really feel supported here or comfortable with expressing yourself. Um, in the first session, I wanted to kind of allow you to vent about a lot of those feelings, explore how you feel about that, talk about some of the changes you maybe want to make, different things that you could do to kind of connect more to the campus and to the students here. At the time, I did suggest that maybe we look at the LBTQ group that we have here on campus as maybe a support system for you. I do want to talk about if you are still willing to do that, or if there's some other resources we could maybe look at instead. But during the process of all of this, I know that it's been difficult to express yourself to Brandon about how he's causing you to feel. So I know initially you were very, very angry with mom not talking to you anymore, not reaching out to you, not returning any of your calls or your texts, and you had expressed some concern around, her safety. How are you feeling about that now? Are you still angry at mom for not talking to you, or is it more so just concerned if she's okay?
Sort of both.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. So within domestic violence, there's a couple of tools that we like to use to kind of give you a visual of what's happening. Have you ever heard of the power and control wheel?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So in the power and control wheel, there are 4 different dimensions that we're going to talk about. One of those is the physical effects of the domestic violence. So obviously, you know, most people, when they think about domestic violence, they think about someone hitting you, someone hurting you physically, causing some type of severe physical injury to you. But a lot of what people don't think about is the other sides of domestic violence. There's also the emotional side, there's the psychological side, there's the verbal side, and all of these are used by the abuser to try and control you. So some things that maybe you haven't considered or noticed within your relationship with Brandon is maybe some of that emotional abuse. If you've ever thought back to the situation with your mom and your stepdad. I know you had mentioned before you hated how he is constantly putting her down, constantly humiliating her, making her feel bad for supporting you and not disowning you, and constantly telling her that she needs to just cut you off so that she'll change or you'll become normal again. And I know within the relationship with Brandon, you kind of expressed that he kind of doesn't make you feel that great about yourself. So that's one thing to consider about how it's affecting you emotionally. The other part is the intimidation. So making threats or certain gestures or even destroying your physical property or personal items, things that he knows are important to you. Um, and by threats, I don't necessarily mean threats of harm, but even just threatening to leave you. I know that you said you're still not really comfortable with expressing to anyone else in the school community about your sexuality. And as a result of being in this new relationship, he's been constantly pressuring you to, be out with him in public and, tell people that you're out and you're not quite ready to do that yet. And then threatening to leave you if you don't go ahead and dive into that before you're ready. There's also to consider coercion or threats. So again, trying to force you to do something you don't want to do. Even with mom, she's not talking to you right now. I mean, maybe you could think about the fact that maybe it's not up to mom to talk to you. She's in a domestic violence relationship as well. It may be stepdad that's telling her she's not allowed to or controlling her phone calls, or he may even be just monitoring who she's even texting or emailing or talking to the point where she may be fearful to reach out. So again, this is another reason why I would like to help create some supports for you here on the campus while you're still trying to work on things with mom. Um, Another thing to consider is also the isolation. So socially, domestic violence can also affect you if you find that your partner is now controlling where you go and limiting who you're able to contact or activities you're able to participate in on campus, or even saying things like, oh, I'm just jealous, I just don't want anyone to take you from me. Even those are tactics to try to get you to isolate socially from anyone that you could potentially either build a friendship with or someone in his mind that he thinks could take you away from him or convince you to leave him. Um, but the biggest part of it that sometimes we find ourselves feeling guilty about or blaming ourselves for is the constant denial and the minimizing of what they do. So when you find yourself trying to express to Brandon, I really don't feel like you're treating me fairly. I feel like I should be able to do certain things. Before I met you, I had the ability to participate in whatever I wanted to. And now I feel like I'm not even able to do anything at all and I'm unhappy. And then the response being, oh, it's not that big of a deal, or making fun of how you feel, or not even taking it seriously, or even acting like it didn't happen. And that could even include physical abuse if he's physically harming you. And then the next day when you try to address it with him, he's denying what even happened or blaming you for what happened, saying you made me do that or you made me hit you. So another thing I want to talk to you about also is the cycle of abuse. And this is really important for you to understand so that you can reach a point where when he gets into that denying and minimizing behavior, that you're not filled with guilt or self-doubt or trying to rationalize in your mind, maybe this is my fault. Maybe I am causing him to do this. So in the very beginning of these relationships, a lot of times we get stuck in, I just want the person to go back to the way they were once they begin the abuse. I want them to go back to who they were. And I just want them to go back to treating me the way they did when we first met, because it's like they're a different person. Most abusers will take you through what's called a honeymoon stage. And during that honeymoon stage, they will woo you, they'll take you on dates, they'll make you feel like you're on top of the world, extremely happy, and everything is bliss. And then eventually, even in a short amount of time, tension just out of the blue, it seems, begins to build. And our response to that is usually to try to calm the person, to either talk a lot to them or become more silent, to even isolate ourselves from family or friends thinking we need to be here for them right now, not create any distractions to make him think that I don't care about him. Agreeing to a lot of things or agreeing very readily, and even trying to reason with them when we're trying to figure out, what are you upset with me about? I haven't done anything wrong. And then there's just that general feeling of like you're walking on eggshells. And then immediately after that is the explosion, whether it's hitting, choking, humiliation, putting you down, threatening you, destroying your property. And then we find ourselves in either calling the police, trying to reason with them again, trying to calm them, or in the fight or flight response of either fighting back or leaving the person. But that cycle continues and goes right back into the honeymoon stage again. Once we've threatened to leave or tried to fight back with the person, then it's I'm sorry, they're begging for forgiveness, they'll promise to go to counseling with you, send you gifts to try to get you to forgive them, or even just cry in front of you or initiate some type of emotion to make you feel bad about the choice to try to get away. And then if you've noticed, because we've talked about this before, where you've tried to leave him and he's made you feel bad about it, and then told you, there's no one else for you here. There's no one else here that you can talk to. There's no one else that you trust. All you have is me. What will you do without me? And you've tried to get him to go to counseling and agreed to take him back, but then you still don't feel that happy about it because you feel like it's going to happen again. So just some of these things to think about when you are in a situation where you don't feel safe with him, where you feel like he's starting to escalate or his behavior is becoming more violent, to try to be proactive and think about what that response is going to be, to try to get ahead of the situation and say, okay, in the past, normally I try to reason with him. In the past, I normally try to, make light of what's going on or just try to ignore him, and maybe think about some of those things you can do to get yourself safe and maybe just disconnect from him for a little while until you can figure out what you'd like to do long term. Okay.
Okay. So the person that I'm going to mock interview is a 7-year-old second grader who witnessed her mother being domestically abused by her ex-boyfriend. The abuse happened over a course of 3 months, and the little girl's name is Kayla. And although Kayla's mother ended the relationship, the effects of the abuse is still traumatized Kayla today. And before witnessing the abuse, Kayla's mother told me that she was outgoing, she was friendly, respectful, and a mild-tempered honor roll student. She enjoyed listening to music, dancing, and playing the drums. But recently, she has trouble concentrating in school. Her grades are declining. She's unable to sleep. She doesn't have an appetite. She complains of having headaches. She lost interest in music, dancing, and playing the drums. She doesn't like to socialize with her peers, and she has frequent fights with her 8 and 9-year-old cousins with whom she now lives with. Because Kayla's mom is concerned about her daughter's sudden changes in behavior, she brought her into my office for help. So this is my first time meeting Kayla, and this is the interview that I had with Kayla. Hi, Kayla. My name is Mrs. Norton, and your mom asked me to talk to you about what has been happening to you recently. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Good. Just so you know that whatever you share with me will be kept between us unless you tell me something that may cause you to hurt yourself. Then I would need to let your mom know so we make sure that you are safe. How does that sound?
Okay.
Okay, great. So your mom told me that you saw her ex-boyfriend do some very bad things to hurt her. And because of what you saw, your mom believes that this is the reason why your behavior changed. First, let me just say to you that I am really, truly sorry that you had to experience that. You had to see what happened with your mom. And I'm sure that that must have been very scary for you. So for a few minutes here, I just would like to talk to you about those scary things that happened to your mom and that changed the way you have been feeling lately. I also want to help you understand what you're going through and help you get back to those activities that you used to enjoy. So, Kayla, what you are going through right now is what we call post traumatic stress disorder, which is PTSD. And I know this is a big word for you. So, let me just try to explain it to you a little bit more simply. And what it means is that you are remembering the bad things that happened to your mom over and over in your mind. And what our brain does, it keeps track of what happened to us in our past. And when these scary moments come up in your mind, you may have a hard time telling someone how you feel. So you act it out instead of telling someone verbally how you feel. So when you find yourself having trouble paying attention in class, or you wake up in the middle of the night and from your nightmares, or you're constantly fighting with your cousins, this is how you are letting everyone know that what happened to your mom is actually bothering you. When you saw your mom go through those things, it sounds like that must have upsetted you and has caused some physical and emotional and psychological and social changes in your life. And you're probably wondering, like, what am I talking about? So don't worry, I'll explain it a little further for you. So physically, the what happened to your mom, it left you feeling like you're not able to eat, and it has your head hurting often. And then emotionally, it has you having a hard time trusting people and building healthy relationships with your friends. And on psychologically, you sometimes feel afraid and you worry if someone will hurt you or your mom. And then socially, you no longer want to go to your dance class. You don't want to play the drums with your teacher. And you even don't want to listen to the music with your friends. You find yourself always wanting to be left alone and you don't want to make friends. So, what I would like to do is to continue to work with you to help you deal with all those changes that happen in your life. And the first thing that I want to make sure is that you feel safe where you live, which your mom has already done because she moved you and her out of that home, and now you guys are now living with your aunt. I also want to teach you the skills on how you can let others know when you are remembering those bad, scary things that happened to your mom. So instead of acting out in your behaviors, I'm going to help you to be able to share with your mom or with maybe a teacher, or even share with me those things that you are experiencing so that we can help you. Your mother loves you and you have family support with your mom and your aunts. So, with this support, you will get through this, and I am here to help you. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, so that's all. I just wanted to go over what's been going on with you recently because your mom has been concerned about it. So I just wanted to briefly explain to you how what happened to your mom has affected you, and this and those are the reasons how it affected you, so that you understand that we are here. We're going to help you get through this, and you will get through it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, everyone, that's our time. So we hope that you enjoyed our trauma explanation video. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.